which is today what we have today in the modern mosque of Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Are there any other Algerians in Elkader?
No, I am it.
You're it.
So,
how about are there other Arabs, Muslims?
Not really.
No.
I mean, it's a small community by city standards. I mean, I always say the smallest city that I lived in my whole life was 2 million plus people, so it was quite a readjustment to move to a town of 1,500 people.
Yeah, wow.
But I also follow up by saying, that when, and I imagine it's kind of a similar story to a lot of your listeners, when your roots are across the ocean from where you are, the slightest little smell or remembrance of those roots is really important to you.
Right.
So that's how I ended up there.
You told me a story of when you came to visit Elkader and you found something in the town square or the town park. Tell the listeners.
Yeah, I was saying, so doing my answer to September 11th was research in the history of Islam. So I discovered that the first mosque was in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. But researching a little further, it said that not only Iowa is home to the first mosque in the nation, but it's also the only state in the Union that has a town named after a Muslim leader. And it was a big revelation to me to find out that the Muslim leader was Emir Elkader, because obviously of my background. But so my partner Brian is from Northeast Iowa, and so we were not completely strangers to Iowa. We would come and visit his family at least a couple of times a year around Christmas and in the summer. And so we looked it up in a map, and it wasn't too far from his hometown. So we made a visit to Iowa, and actually one of the very first people that I met in Elkader is Ed Olson, and I cannot begin to tell you sort of what significance he has in this connection. He certainly is the father of the Sister City program, but he's also in having lost my father not too long ago. He in a way is my American father, if you'd like. But in answering your question, my first visit to Elkader, Iowa. So we take pictures next to the city. The city at the city limit sign that says Elkader, and then we say to ourselves, "Well, now what?" So I decided to seek City Hall, and right outside of City Hall, there was a sign that said Mascara Park. Mascara is our sister city in Algeria, and it's also the hometown of Emir Elkader. And right there in the Mascara Park, there was a peace pole, and there is an inscription on the peace pole that says, "May peace reign on earth." And there was the same thing, the same inscription in Arabic, and it literally floored me. I mean, literally and emotionally, having come from Boston, where right after September 11th there was a climate of fear and hysteria. Coming to this little community in the heartland, you, like anybody else, you have your prejudgments and your stereotypes in your head and not knowing quite what to expect. Yet it kind of hits you over the head that you shouldn't have stereotypes. Here there is a community in the heartland that's sort of proud of that heritage and that's celebrating it in words, in Arabic script, and that was really important to me.
Right, so it was written in English and in Arabic. Yeah,
it was written in English, Arabic, I believe Spanish, and Russian.
So that was the little whiff of home that you needed.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. So, and it kind of, if you had told me that 5 years ago that I'll be living in Elkader, Iowa, I would have probably called you insane.
Yeah.
But before you know it, we kept coming back. There was something about it. It's an amazing little community. It's a breath of fresh air. It's all these progressive minds concentrated in this little town.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we kept coming back and making friends, and before you know it, we're residents now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you've just joined us, you're listening to Sufism, the Heart of Islam, here on KWMR. I'm your host, Wendy McLaughlin, and with me on the line are Frederick Boudouani. He is the president of the Sister City program of Elkader, Iowa, and also Ed Olson, former mayor and founder of the Sister City program of Elkader, Iowa. And Ed, now I'd love to ask you. You originally founded the city. It's officially called the Sister City Friendship Club of Elkader. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. As a sister city with Mascara, Algeria, and as Frederick said, that's Emir Abdelkader's birthplace. What inspired you to do that? And how did you get the program off the ground? Let's start. What inspired you?
The fact that I received this invitation from the Algerian government in January 1984 was also quite a big challenge to me because they had asked that we bring our city officials along and that we were going to...
So they wanted you to come over to Algeria.
Pardon?
They wanted you to come over to Mascara.
That is correct.
Okay.
And so we accepted the invitation, and I should inject here that in 1954 I was in a plane crash where 10 people got killed, and I was one of 6 survivors. So I vowed that I was never going to fly again. So this trip to Algeria took me up in the air in 9 planes in 9 days. But it turned out to be a very, very pleasant experience for both my wife and I and the other 8 persons that went along with us. We traveled to Mascara and got to meet the city council and also the brother of the president at the time, and the county or officials on the county level in our country, as well as the state. Mascara is a city, it's a county, and a state. So they had 3 levels of government there, and we were probably one of the few groups of Americans that had been down in that area since possibly World War II. So it was kind of a challenge to them to host us. But as it turned out, we found them to be very, very passionate and friendly people. And the barriers came down in a couple days. And we began calling each other brothers and sisters. We looked for similarities and not differences. And through that process, we visited the area where Abdelkader had his fort and learned about his heroics. And up in the mountains, there's a big memorial to him there. And our group planted trees around this memorial. And so we have a living memorial to Elkader, Iowa, in Algeria.
Was there any resistance to the idea of starting this Sister City program in 1984 when you began?
Not really. Initially, there was probably no resistance, but probably misunderstanding and lack of knowledge. So it behooved the people that went over there to put on programs and to try to educate the local population on what we were doing and why, and most of all, the importance of Abdelkader, which we had learned over there, that he was their George Washington and a great leader. And we came back with a great sense of pride knowing that our community was named after such a great man.
That's nice. That's really nice. Frederick, you are the current president of the Sister City Friendship Club of Elkader.